School Interactive. We are certainly excited to have you with us. Wherever you are watching us, if this is your first time, this is Kingdom Ambassador Center. On Wednesdays, we've dedicated the Wednesdays till the end of the year to learning, to studying, to having wonderful times whereby we bring people who are seasoned in certain subjects and we begin to discuss. We started off by discussing the subject of worship. We looked at what is worship for almost about 3 weeks or 2 weeks consecutives. Afterwards, we basically went to another phase where we began to look at, the expectations of the kingdom man and kingdom woman in a relationship. We looked at, when Christian singles are there. We were not just, opening this conversation to just any single, but what is the expectations of a Christian young man when he's making choices of a woman? What's the expectations of a Christian young woman? We did that for the last 2 weeks. It was certainly amazing and interesting. We've had other conversations where we looked at the struggle is real in terms of, how people are struggling with their work of God. And I happened to be in the hot seat where I had the opportunity to answer many questions. Today, we want to take it a step further. Since for the past 2 weeks, we looked at, Christian singles, it wouldn't have just been so much justice if we didn't bring young Christians that are married. So today we are looking at expectations and reality. Every young Christian, not every young Christian, but every young girl have an idea of what they want their marriage and their wedding to be. Most of the time they are thinking of Disney. They feel like princesses and they think a king will come and, rescue them and carry them into a certain castle and where they'll go and live happily ever after. Everybody have in their mind what they expect their ideal marriage to be like, and this is the realm of expectation. However, once you settle in, one of the things you realize is that the expectations are very, very different from the reality. That is not to say the reality is not good. It could be better than what the expectation was. But most of the time, the expectations and what is real or the reality or living the life itself is not the same. It's just like that young one who's coming from secondary school and thinking of a great time in uni because they think it's going to be fun and all of that until you get to your first year and your second year and the assignments and things begin to sink in and you realize it's not as fun as you thought it was. So always, all the time, what the expectation is and the reality are two different things. The reality doesn't have to be bad. It could be greater than expectation. But most of the time, the expectation is absolutely different from what you encounter once you find yourself in. And tonight, we are going to look at 3 very young Christian couples. They are married by the grace of God. These are people that I know. I can call friends. I can call family. I know them, and I can vouch that they would basically give nothing but 100%. So today we are going to have a great conversation. It's not an interview. It's just going to be a conversation where we are going to go through when we were single to when we met ourselves, to when they met their partners, and that period of dating. Till when they got married and still married and what is going on. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to, like always I've heard, I don't really look at the questions, but today we are also going to allow you to, send forth your questions and things like that, and we definitely would put it out to them. It's certainly going to be an amazing time. So for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, just share this wherever you are, invite someone, bring somebody on. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I'm happy I'm not part of the people that will be answering the question. I'm happy I find myself in a position where I get to ask the question. That's the beautiful thing, isn't it? So today, wherever you are watching, just welcome again to Kingdom School Interactive. It's going to be amazing. So as I turn my eyes from the camera, tonight I'm blessed to have, as I said, 3 wonderful couples that I have, the privilege to know, to call family, to call friend. And, this is just going to be a conversation between friends and family. And we just hope you join along. And like I said, if you have any question, just put it forth and we will be answering them to you. Yeah, so today we have, I was going to mention your names, but I think it's good if you guys mention your names, isn't it? So yeah, let me do it this way. Let me get the husbands to introduce their wives, isn't it? That is certainly going to be great. So I have my brother Ben. Ben, introduce yourself and introduce your wife.
So my name is Ben Ando, and I'm married to an amazing woman, Miracle Hando, who is the co-founder of Our Experience, singer-songwriter extraordinaire, and also mother of a beautiful daughter, Tara Joy, and also social worker in the Bexley area.
Amazing. Wow. Guys, you have to introduce your wives well. All right, then, so that is Ben. That's Ben. I mean, Ben is not new to our screens and things like that. And that's certainly Ben's wife, Miracle. Emmanuel.
Yes.
Emmanuel. How are you, Emmanuel?
Very well.
Great. So introduce yourself and introduce your beautiful wife.
Okay, so I'm Emmanuel Entry. I prefer to be called Emmanuel in part Entry.
Okay.
And then my wife is Abigail Entry. We've been married for, I believe, 8 years and more.
Hey, seniors woman. Okay.
Yes, and God has graciously blessed us with 3 children. We have 2 boys and a girl. And so I'm a chartered quantity surveyor. I'm into property investment and ministry. My wife is studying her social work as well, aiming to become a social worker. And so it's in line with Miracle.
Okay. Amazing. Great. And I have Henry. So, Henry, introduce yourself and introduce your wife.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Here's my beautiful wife, Samuela. We've been married for like 6 years now.
Great.
We have 3 beautiful girls together. She's an amazing woman, and that is the reason why I married her.
Great.
She's been so supportive over the past 6 years with our beautiful girls, and it's been amazing.
Great.
There's a lot more to come, so stay tuned.
Amazing. A lot more babies to come, isn't it? So we should stay tuned. Amazing. So, I mean, if you just don't know, Henry and Samuela are the godparents of my son, Joel. Abigail, I know her from way back in Belgium. She's family. Emmanuel, as he said, is in property management. Ben and Miracle are family now. We do lots of things together. So it's going to be a great conversation between family members, couple, and I believe it's going to be great. So, guys, like I said, today we are going to look at expectations versus reality of marriage. Let me just tell you an interesting story. Me and Henry went for wife hunting the same day. Patience and Samuela happened to be in the same church, the same pastor. Me and Henry, we met the same day at Patience's big sister's wedding. We went to see their pastors on the same day, at the same office, at the same time. So we literally went to take the 2 of them on the same time. So that's how far back we go. So yes, it's been an amazing journey from there. So guys, we are going to talk. We are just going to have an honest conversation. So like I said, before we start, usually we would bring a music, interlude and things like that. Today, no, because we have couples and there are 3 of them. We want to have a lot of things to talk about. We are not going to play any music. What we are actually going to do is that I am going to see how well these husbands know their wives. I have no doubt wives know their husbands. I mean, wives know everything. Most of the time, we are the people that don't know. So I'm not going to even ask these wives if they know their husbands. But I'm going to really check if these men truly know their wives. So there are 5 questions they are going to answer. The wives are going to answer them discreetly, quietly, whatever you can call it. And the husbands would have to come back and give us the answers the wives, give. It's either, it's a wall of fame or it's a wall of shame. You either name or you shame it. So, I mean, let's see these guys who are saying my beautiful mom, my beautiful wife. Let's see if they really know their beautiful wives. Amen. Guys, Ben, I want you to get up. Come and sit by Henry. Henry, go to where Ben is, please. Thank you. Great. Emmanuel, can you stand up, please? Go to where Henry is. Henry, go back to where Emmanuel is, please. Great, 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 great. Good one, good one. Ladies, pick up the papers down. Pick up the papers. Make sure your husbands don't see what you are writing. There are about 5 questions there. If you can please answer them. Yo, can you just play some music whilst we get this done? Oh, the question's on WhatsApp. I got you. Even if it's all right, ladies. Are the questions on the paper? No. Like openly? All right. So the first question. Ladies, when is your wedding anniversary date? Wedding. 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 One more minute, we move on to the next question. Question number 2. Ladies, what are your shoe sizes? Ladies' shoe sizes. Ladies, what were you guys wearing the first day you met the guys? So the first day you met them, what were you wearing? Can we move on to the next question? What are your favorite worship songs? Song, not song, song. What is your favorite worship artist? Just write artist. I would accept that. I would accept artist. No, you're not supposed to be talking to your wives. So what's your favorite worship artist? Thank God I'm not answering these questions. Patience, what's your favorite worship artist? Whoever said these questions is very wicked. Whoever said these questions is very, very, very wicked. Final question. Ladies, when did you guys accept Jesus as your Lord and your personal Savior? When? You can just write the year. Wonderful. All right then, so if I can you can pass on the page. If you can write your name at the top, the ladies, just write your name at the top. You can just write your name at the top. Can you pass it over to me, please? Just pass it on. Pass it. Pass it. Pass it on. Pass it on. Please, pass it on. All right, so you can move back to where your husbands are. To where your wives are. All right. Okay. So, Henry, if you can speak into the mic. Can someone please mark you
Yeah,
for me?
it's working. Yeah.
Good. I'm getting the questions again. Henry?
Yeah.
When is your wedding anniversary date?
Oh, that's easy.
Can I have a pen?
That's easy now.
Can I have a pen?
All right, so that is the 2nd of August, 2014.
Okay, 2nd of August. That's fine. Samuela absolutely had something else. Okay. So Samuela says that your wedding anniversary is in July. Okay. All right, next question. Next question. Next question. Next question. Next question. What is Samuela's shoe size, Henry?
Size 5.
That's correct. She said 5. Can we give it up to him? What was what was Samuela wearing the first day you met her?
Smart dress.
Samuela said church clothes. Samuela, what is church clothes? Oh my gosh. All right then. Guys, it's smart and church dress the same? Yeah, so should we give it to him? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question was, what is her favorite worship song or worship artist?
I would say her best friend, Patience Smith.
She said Patience Jane. Huh? That's good. The final question, when did she accept Jesus as a Lord and personal Savior? Or which year did she take her walk with God? Seriously, which year would you say?
I think it's prior, maybe in 2004.
She said 2004.
Yeah.
So the wedding anniversary, who got it wrong then?
I think I did. I think I missed it with the
You have your mic? You have your mic?
Oh, yeah. With the engagement.
So you got it wrong.
I did.
So was it in August?
The wedding was in August. Oh, the wedding was in August.
All right, so we'll give Henry 5 out of 5. Ben?
Yeah.
Ben, are you ready?
I thought it was gonna go like.
No. When is your wedding anniversary date?
It depends. There's loads. So the 2nd of February. There is 17th of March and 19th of March.
When is your wedding? And did you have 3 weddings?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, 2018, if I'm correct.
So you had 3 weddings?
We had 3 weddings. So we had the civil wedding,
Yeah.
which was February 2nd. Then we had the traditional wedding, which was on the 17th of March. And then we had the actual white wedding on the 19th of March.
Okay, so your wife said the 19th of March 2018. So
Okay,
you're correct? You are correct?
You should get bonus. Just in case.
What is your wife's shoe size?
I'd say 7, but she can wear 8.
What is your wife's shoe size?
Some of them are 7, but some of them are 8. So
Okay. So it's 7 or 8. Your wife says
I'll go
it's
with
8
8.
and 9. So, I'll, can you use the mic, guys? When you're
Oh,
talking,
sorry.
please?
No, I was saying that my shoe size is 7 and 8,
Yeah.
but after pregnancy it's now 8 and 9.
So, no, we are talking about.
So
we
talking
we
about
didn't
now.
ask about what your shoe size was.
I'll stick with 8.
No, you didn't get it. You said 7, 8. You said 8, 9. I'll give you half for the 8. Okay. Can we speak into the mic so that the people out there can hear? All right. So Ben, when you met Miracle, what was the first thing she was wearing? Patience, I remember the first dress I saw you were wearing. I remember it so well.
Jeans
Oh, yeah.
and a green top.
Great. She said green top and blue jeans. So you're correct. She's surprised. She said, you actually remember. Oh, this is so cute. She's actually said, oh, you actually remember. Guys, can we give it up to these guys? All right. Who is Miracle's favorite worship artist?
At the moment, obviously Emmanuel Swift is her favorite.
Who is
but
her,
at
I
the
don't want option. Who is her favorite artist?
At the moment, it's Dunson and Pastor Jerry Eze.
Who is her favorite artist?
No,
I didn't say artist.
Okay. Oh, okay. I say Dunson. I don't know his surname.
She said Dunsin Oyinkan. Okay. That's what she said. Is it correct? That's correct. That's correct. What year did your wife accept Jesus as a Lord and personal Savior, or did take a walk with God seriously?
From 2009.
She said
onwards.
2009. She said 2009. That's correct. I'll give you 4.5, almost 5.5. Yes, he said 7, 8. She said 8, 9. So yes, I'll give you half there. But technically, yes. I think you guys know your wives. Emmanuel!
I must warn you, I'm going to...
Yo, Emmanuel!
I must warn you.
Listen.
You're not going to like it. All right, let's go. I'll try my best.
Emmanuel, listen. I know Abigail. If you jinx this, you're in trouble. Emmanuel, yes, question number 1. Mm-hmm. What is your wedding anniversary?
Okay. It was in 2013, the wedding. I don't remember the month. And so, I think September. September 2013, I'm not very sure. But it's 2013.
Your wife says that the wedding anniversary is the 18th of August 2013. You said September. You are wrong, sir.
Exactly. So half.
No.
I got the 13th.
No. I mean, how come you don't know your wedding anniversary?
She reminds me every day. Every time.
All right, then. Ima, this is not good.
To be fair, I think we celebrate the...
Mike.
To be fair, we celebrate the traditional more than we do with the...
I mean, well, I didn't ask which one do you celebrate. I said your wedding anniversary. And even if you don't celebrate it, it's your wedding anniversary. So I didn't ask which one you celebrate, yeah? Guys, when we are speaking, let's use the mics, please. Okay, what is your wife's shoe size?
Okay, that's another challenging question. All right, I will bang on 7. And so, yes, 7 and 8.
People say they can see.
They can't see.
No, talk.
So 7.
7. Your wife says 6 or 7, so I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
7 is fine. 7 is fine.
See, trying, isn't it?
What was your wife wearing the first time you saw her?
Okay, that one I remember. All right, so she was wearing this white, red. Is it jumper? Red jumper.
You are correct. She said red jumper.
Yes.
She said red jumper.
Yes, so red jumper.
So you are correct. Your wife said red jumper.
I want to even add more.
Add. Add it.
And a very hot shot.
Hey!
Nice one.
Yes. Okay. That's fine. You got that correct. The next question. What is your wife's favorite gospel artist?
Okay, so the problem with this question is
I didn't ask what problem. I said, what is their favorite? I don't want to know the problems. What is their favorite artist?
Currently, it will probably be this Nigerian guy. Is it
Abi, you don't have to be shaking
no,
your head, please.
there is this Nigerian guy. The truth is, I don't remember his name,
Okay.
but he's a Nigerian artist.
Yeah.
And
You used to be part of the choir, so you can sing the song. Then let's see if you know.
I've gone blank.
All right,
Okay,
then. So you
yeah, it's definitely a Nigerian artist, and he's a gentleman.
All right. I'm sorry, your wife says that Victoria Renze
Oh yeah.
or Mercy Chidwo. So
Are you kidding me? But you're playing this guy.
He's not my favorite. He's not my favorite.
But you love this guy. Charlie. Oh,
I'm sorry.
man of God.
Boss.
Boss.
You can take this to court and argue. You can take it to court and argue. But you've got it completely wrong. Your last question.
Okay.
Your last question.
Let me get this one.
When did your with God serious? Which year?
All right, so
It's obvious this guy's on a guess.
she already knew Christ when I met her. So I don't know the exact date, but I believe it will probably be so many years back. I can't tell you the date.
Wow.
I am not sure she will get a date for you.
Okay. As long as I'm concerned, in the calendar, there is no year called many years back. So that means automatically you're wrong. Your wife said 2011.
Okay.
Your wife said 2011.
That is strange.
All right, then. Henry, you know your wife. Excellent. Ben, you know your wife. Emmanuel, stay home a little bit more. Emmanuel, stay home a little bit more. Stay home a little bit more. Please, this is not the place where you are. If you find yourself in trouble, I'm not part. All right, so I mean, it was just icebreaker. We wanted to see if you know your wives. We cannot have these conversations if we are dealing with people that don't know their partners. But the most important things are the most important questions. I mean, if you ask patients, what time I give my life to Christ, she definitely wouldn't know. So those questions, I don't take it a bit too serious. But shoe size, what she was wearing for the first time. Miracle said, he actually remembers. So that's good. That's good. I think these are the most important things. Anniversary date, Ima. Big man. All right. So let's just zoom straight. We are going to have a conversation. As I said, ladies, feel free. Let's open up. The more we talk, I know that we definitely are going to get there. Ben, tell us a little bit about yourselves. I mean, you've told us about your wife. When did you guys meet? I mean, where did you meet Miracle? What was the situation like? I mean, the first time. I mean, tell us, how did you find that?
The situation was very awkward.
Okay.
So the first time we met.
Most of the time, awkward things end well. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, definitely. The first time we met was at an event, which was done by one of my very close friends, Pastor Edward, called STG.
Mm-hmm.
So she was invited as a guest minister, and I was the MD at the time. Musical director at the time. So when she finished ministering, I was slayed by the Spirit, and so I said, "Can I manage her?" And she turned me down. And the pastor, who I was very close with, told her to stay away from me because I was a womanizer, and she did that. But she had followed me on socials at the time. And
she was observing.
She was watching, yeah. While I was still in the world, fooling around and stuff. Until one day, I met her again, and I was like, "Oh, look, my family are looking for a PA. I think you should be the PA of the family." and which she did, and we started organizing events together because we worked very well together. And obviously, clearly, I did like her, but I still had some relationships that weren't over. And I think what brought us closer was the fact that I got exposed. And the girl that I was dealing with was on the phone to my auntie at the time, and the girl that I was actually seeing was in the house, and Miracle was there as well. And it was just so awkward. And I think that's when I actually gave my life to Christ. After that.
After that, you definitely give your life to Christ.
And she just said to me, I want nothing to do with you ever again. Like, don't talk to me and stuff. So we kind of, went out. Well, yeah, no, it's true. We kind of went our own ways, but she kept in contact by sending me like scriptures and encouraging me. And at that time, I wasn't thinking about relationships because obviously I'd just been exposed. There's no time for that stuff. And I was kind of rediscovering myself. And I remember me, Miracle, Emmanuel Smith, and a good friend of ours, Selena, will be praying. We'll meet together and just pray and pray. And I remember after a couple of months, God was like, this is the person for you. But I just needed to clean you up in order to present you to the right person. And after like almost a year or so, I went straight to her parents, and I was like, look, Mum and Dad, look, I really feel like this is the person for me. They gave me her blessing. We only dated for about 2 months, and then I popped the question because I knew that she was the one.
Come on. No time. Charlie, those of you that have been dating for 8 years and you're still looking for a sign, repent. Listen, guy, listen. If he's dated you for more than 2 years and he's not. That's right. I agree with you. All right, then, continue, sir.
So this happened over a span of like 4 years. So we built that friendship. And then when we started dating, it was just one of those things where, it was just organic. Like, it just made sense. But one of the things that I would say is that, and no disrespect to any of my ex-girlfriends or anything, but she was evident that Christ was in her life. And, everything that I do now is because she believed in the power of Christ in my life, And so, like we were talking about, Ava and all these things, it only stemmed because she believed in the God in me. And that became evident because she decided not to take me as a boyfriend or anything like that, but to steer me in the direction of Christ. And
excellent.
Yeah.
Great story. Can we give it to them? Amazing. Great. Emmanuel, yes. Tell us how the journey began. I'm very curious to know. Tell us how the journey began.
Okay, so it all started from 2011 when so basically I came to the UK to study, and that was when she also came from Belgium to also study. And so I was at my sister's, and so we were all in the same flat. My sister was on the ground floor, and Abigail was also living with her sister on the first floor. Okay. And so when the normal thing you would do is when you come from Africa to your sister, they will probably introduce you to their friends. And so my sister said, I have a friend, go and say hi to her. And so we went upstairs to say hi to my sister's friend, and mark this one, lo and behold.
You saw your sister's friend.
I saw this beautiful creature. And when I saw her,
you saw.
I looked at her once, and I felt something. But I needed to compose myself. And so I went like, hi. And then I spoke to this one. And so we had a lovely conversation, and she was also, playing all that lady game, sort of, hello, and she was also watching. So long story short, introduced myself to the sister, went down, and the next day, I needed to go to Barking Station. I was fresh in the country, and so my sister was like, can you get the Oyster card from my friend, the one you greeted yesterday?
You should really sow seed into your sister.
Yes.
Okay, continue. Is it your sister I met?
The one you met.
Okay,
the one you met, yes.
Okay.
And so I went upstairs to collect the Oyster card, and then my wife came with the Oyster card, like, there it is. Then she went. So she just gave it to me and she just banged the door and went. All right. So I took it, went to back in, came back. So knocked the door again to return and she came back and I was like, okay, hello. She took it. And before I even talk,
she's gone.
She went again. So I'm like, okay, fine. And so it was time for me to go to school. I went to school and I called in home. I was trying to, just check on everyone. And apparently my sister's friend was there. And so when I was talking, it was like, okay, how are you? And she was fine. I'm like, okay, so how's your sister? Like, oh, my sister, yeah. Do you want to talk to her? I'm like, yeah, I just want to say hi. And so that's where it began. And I spoke to Abby, and she was all right. She wasn't all that, the conversation wasn't all that great. Came back home after, I think, the first semester or so. And that's where the friendship, because she was coming to my sister's often, and we were originally friends, normal friends. Organic friends, sort of thing.
Okay.
Talking and having fun and all those bits and pieces. And then, but something, for me, I think it was meant to happen, because later on, we realized we were spending more time together, talking more. Sometimes even when they are all asleep, we will be just talking. And the conversation was flowing. You just don't know where it was coming from. And we loved our own company. And the only sign I knew that it was her was when I went back to school for the last semester. I wanted to come back home, and she was going back to Belgium. And I called in and I said, I'm coming home, but so what are your plans? And she said, I'm going to Belgium. I'm like, okay, but we can have a nice time here if you want to stay. I didn't expect a yes.
What, was she moving back to go and live in Belgium?
I don't know. I think she was probably just going on a visit.
Okay.
Also, because it was a very good break.
Okay.
And she was like, if you are actually coming, then I will stay. And so when I got that sign,
that one is a strong sign.
Then I knew that something
is already happening.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I came. We had a lovely time together. We were still friends. We went to the cinema, had some few time around, and good. I played the organ. And so we were, sometimes we also worship together.
Okay, you're having fellowship.
We were having fellowship.
Koinonia, you were having koinonia.
And then all those, so everything that I was expecting from the lady I wanted was there. Okay. And so the very last minute for me to return back to school, that was when, I asked her out. And it wasn't a very straightforward question. It was like, okay, but let's pray. And I went to school and I'm like, listen, I've prayed about this for a very long time. There's no need to pray again. Okay, tell me what you think. And she went like, okay, yeah, it's fine. So, let's give it a try. Wow. So 6 months down the line, so I finished school, 6 months, we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Come on. It's if there is anything I'm picking up, guys, you know what they want, don't waste time. Guys who know what they want, just don't waste time. Yeah. It's if there's anything I'm picking up, from this I think we're going to have a great conversation today. I think if we don't finish this, I'm going to book you guys in again next week. This is a good one. This is a good one. If not, because it's already 8:20 and we've not even said anything. Interested. Henry. I know me and you, we went on the same day.
Yeah, sure.
But definitely something should have happened before, because if something had not happened, if she had not given you the yes, you wouldn't have come to see the pastor.
That's true.
On that same day.
That's true.
How did it happen?
To be honest, we met at a church. My cousin was naming her son, and I happened to be at the church. And I don't know, for some reasons, I was standing outside, and this lady came. She knew what she wanted, so she said hello to me first.
Okay. Come on. Yo. Ladies, get ready, because after this, I'm coming to you guys.
Of course. She said hello. I equally said hello back, and that was it. So after that, we became friends. And
how can you say hello to someone and you become friends?
Oh, well, what happened?
Did you take a number there?
Yeah, we exchanged numbers. Then we became friends. We communicated. But then we lost communication for some time. I was into other things. So, I was not always, a Christian or a serious believer. So, yeah. So, yeah, I just wandered into the world, did my own things, what I thought that was right then. And then mysteriously, I thought that I had lost her number. And then one evening, I was just scrolling through my phone and I saw her name. Wow. And I just dialed. And it went through and she picked up. She said, hello. I was so relieved. I said, hello. She said, hello. She asked, who is this? And I just had to reintroduce myself because she had just lost any idea of who I was. And then, she was friendly. We spoke, and then from there we just started. And now we are where we are.
Okay.
So,
how long did you guys date before you? Because this is like 2 months. You guys were like what, 6 months? How long did it take you? When you guys realized, listen, we are for each other.
Yeah,
how long
sure.
Did it take?
I think it was no more than 2 years. It was, I think, a year and a half.
Okay.
I had proposed already, and then what we were.
When we went to see the pastor.
Yeah.
Because, that is very significant. If you are not serious about a woman,
Yeah.
you'll not go and see her pastor. How long had that been?
That had been a year and a half of us, being in a serious relationship, trying to take it to the next level, the next step, which is marriage. Okay. So, yeah, that was a year and a half.
Excellent, excellent. Can we give it up to Henry as well? I'm a guy, I know. If a guy sees a lady he likes, he just sees. And most of the time, it's at the first glance or the first instance or something. Even if he's not sure, there's something that connects. But I don't know exactly what it is about the women. Miracle, so at what stage did you think this guy was my husband? What was your opinion from the first time you saw him? And at what point in time in you getting to know him did you feel like, yes, this guy's going to be my husband? Was it something that you knew at the first time you saw him? Was it something that it took time? Tell us, how was it for you?
For me, when I first met Ben, like he said, it was at an event, and at the end of the event, he came up to me and said, oh, I want to be your manager. He was just so forward about everything. And at the beginning, I was unsure because, I thought, okay, who's this curly-haired guy coming to speak to me about managing me? But after that, like he said, I heard so many things. He's a player, he's this, he's that. So I just took my time to observe him. And I think it was 3 years I was just watching him. And then we began to talk. I remember I took some time away for 1 month, and I just went on a retreat, and I was just praying about him. And then I received a word. I remember we were on the phone, and he fell asleep on FaceTime, so I just decided to pray because I knew if I said, let's pray, he'd probably say no. So when he slept, and I started praying for him, and then I heard God say to me, don't date Ben, but build a friendship with him because those are the type of bonds that lead to marriage. And I still have the book where I wrote that down. So, and I was like, but God, I like him. Well, God said, don't date him. And I think the reason why God said that to me was because he didn't need another girlfriend. Like he explained, he was in so many relationships. If I had said yes to him at the time that he was dating me, I would have just been yet another girl. But he needed to have someone in his life who was able to say, be a friend to him, get to know him, steer him in the right path. And I think for me, from when I heard that word and when I started building my friendship with him, it was when I knew that he was the one for me. It was one Christmas, and I remember we had so many people in our homes, and I would have had to sleep on the floor because there was no more beds. And so I just remember waking up one morning to first package came. It was what did they call it? Air bed. And I was like, oh, who sent me an air bed? And then it just said, Merry Christmas, Ben. And then the next package came, and it was just basically everything I needed for that Christmas.
Can you give it to Ben? Can you give it to Ben? Can you give it to Ben? Yo, Ben is prophetic.
And it was, it was obviously at the time where I wasn't speaking to him as well. I was just like, you know, it was at the stage where I had found out everything that was happening, and I just let him be. So I didn't even think that I just thought he was probably brokenhearted from all his other girlfriends that have left him. But, you know, he was reaching out, he was sending gifts, he was, and then I think I also saw...
Send gifts. Continue.
I also saw that, you know, he was taking the time now to not wait for me to send him scriptures. He was setting his alarm to go out and pray. He was setting his alarm to go out and do the things that he needed to do. So he wasn't relying on me for his relationship with Christ. He was now looking for his own relationship. And that's when I knew. I was like, because I didn't want to marry someone that I'll be forcing to seek God, but I wanted to see in him the desire to actually walk with God on his own. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, now he's ready.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's give it up to them. Excellent. This is amazing. Abigail, so Emmanuel has come from Ghana. He's coming to study. He finds you. You are being mean. You are not smiling. You are bringing the Oyster card. Take it, go. I know Abigail, she can do that, though. and you know, now you are going to Belgium. He calls you. I want to come, and you say, if you are coming, I'm staying. It should take something for a lady to actually make that statement to say, listen, I'm traveling, but if you are coming, I'm staying. At what point did you think this guy could be my husband? And what was the reasons why you reached that conclusion?
Okay, thank you very much. I think that starting from where he began, when we first saw each other, I think I remember very well, I was standing in my sister's kitchen, and he was sitting with his sister on the sofa, and they were talking, and he was very, you know, when I say criff, like, you know, criffy person, he was like the proper
he was
definition.
Releasing scripture. Everything is shambala.
He was the proper definition of
Christ
criff.
was all over him.
Thank
brother,
you.
that's 100
Thank
points. Let's give it to him. Let's give it to brother. Let's give it to him. We want men who Christ is all over. All over. Okay,
He was very criff. I mean, anything he said, it was just about, I mean, he was giving all these scriptures and proverbs and all that. And I was just so annoyed in the kitchen. I was like, oh, this guy, honestly. But then, funny enough, I've never even said this. I was just in the kitchen, and something, because that time, as I said, I had not found Christ in 2011, but I came to know Christ. I experienced Christ the most in 2011. Okay. So that's when I got really close to him. And I just heard a voice saying, "This is your husband." Okay. That was the voice I heard. And sometimes, you know, funny enough, sometimes when you hear something, it's, you know, you kind of doubt whether it's you saying something to yourself or whether it's wherever that's coming from. It was weird. And then I just brushed it off, honestly. So then he would call, every time he would try and call my sister, and he would say, he kept calling my sister, trying to speak to me, and then every time my sister tries to bring the phone, I would say, tell him I'm not there. Because I was so annoyed with, and I wasn't.
Why? Was it that you did not want a guy who...
Yeah, I thought, at that time, I thought that he was, you know, that overly...
Too
spiritual, you know. Yeah, exactly. It was just, we wasn't intent. Oh, yeah. I didn't like it. So then every time my sister said, I think Ima likes you, I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then, yeah, but then we started being friends, and then we started talking. And then there was just this beauty about him. There's this...
Organic.
There's this innocence and purity. Whenever I talked to him, I felt better. You know, when you're not expecting to feel better, but you speak to that particular person and nothing really seems relevant.
House audience, can you control yourself, please? You guys need self-control. Otherwise, next week I'm not bringing you guys here. Let's continue.
So yeah, and then it was quite weird because I knew I kind of liked people with a little bit of swagger, you know. So then I thought, this guy's too crip for my liking. That's what I thought. But then it was just a natural feeling. It was just the emotions and everything was just drawing me closer to him. I was just beginning to enjoy his company more. I was learning from him. He was incredibly wise. I mean, he's passionate. He's ambitious. I was just around him, and then I was getting to know God even more, because that time I had gotten closer to God. And him having that relationship, I felt that it was drawing me even more closer to God, and that was kind of, it reassured me. That relationship kind of reassured me. Every time I'm with him, I felt like everything is going to be okay. So it was, and then it just felt right for me. It's an odd feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a feeling. I knew that he was it. And then he didn't ask me out. He actually, the first time we talked about it, he said, I want to marry you. He didn't even go by, let's try and date and all that. And then that was bold, because I wasn't even thinking about marriage at that particular time. But then I felt, yes, why not? Actually, it was just right. Yeah.
Okay, so right. Great. So if I understand, you had a peace about the whole thing.
Yes.
And from the first day, you had a voice tell you that was your husband.
Yeah.
Even though what you were seeing was not what you liked, but you had this voice that told you it is him.
Yes.
Okay. Can we give it up to her? Great. Great. I've not even started asking the questions, you know. This is a good one. I'm enjoying it so far. Sammy, so Henry said you knew what you wanted. So that means that when you came out of the church the first time and you saw him out, did you just see that guy is my husband? Tell me, at what point did you come that you realized that, listen, that's my husband there?
Thank you for the question. To be totally honest, I'm going to be very honest here. I know.
Listen, I don't expect
there
anything but honesty.
There are things we say it's a crash, or, well, in today's terms, but when I saw him or when I met him at the time, oh, wow. I liked
That's
him.
a fine guy.
I'm being very honest.
Give it up to fine guys. Yo!
I was like,
guys,
oh, wow.
Guys, I think last week the guy said they like guys who are fine. Guys, you better be fine. I know. Henry's a fine guy. All right, so you saw him and you're like, oh, wow, he's a nice guy. Yeah. Okay.
So I went in and I came back out just pretending to pick up something. And we said hello and exchange of numbers, but then we lost contact because, again, he was into other things and I live with my parents. They were pretty strict, my mum. So we lost contact for good, 3 years or so? And suddenly, one day I was in my house, some weird number was calling my phone. I can be rude. So I picked and I said hello, because I had deleted his name, number, and everything, so I didn't know it was him. And he's like, this is Henry. To be totally honest, I did cut the call because I didn't want to know him. I've moved on. I had moved on at the time, and he called back again, funny enough, because knowing Henry, he was rude. He wouldn't call back, but he did call back. And so I had, there was a lady in the house. I said, oh, Miriam, guess who called me? You remember that guy from the church I told you about years ago? She's like, oh, that rude guy. I said, yeah, he called me. And the conversation started from there. And then, the next day, it became a thing, calling me every day, telling me about how he's changed his life. And he was into church, serious activities and things. I'm like, hey, please don't call me and talk about things like that, because I know you're lying, because obviously past experience. But I guess it was God's timing at the time. I genuinely liked him, even though I was acting like I didn't at the time, because I had genuinely moved on. And it snowballed from there. It got a little bit serious. I told my dad, because I'm very close with my dad and things like that. And we met after that. And of course, Henry bought me Subway. a foot long, but he split it in two.
Rude guy. All right, then.
So it was great, and I know I liked him, and he liked me from the first time we met, and that's how it happened.
So at what point did you? I mean, you could see a guy you like him, but to say that's going to be my husband is a massive statement. At what? Because he definitely, would propose to you.
Of course, yeah.
I think Patience told me, oh, do you know, my friend Samuela got proposed to. And so, at what point did you think this gentleman is my husband? Was there anything that brought you to that decision? Was there anything?
Yes. Well, it took a lot, and also there are distinctive things I noticed about him, because with Henry, if you know Henry, you know he's genuine as it is. He comes as it is. He doesn't fake.
He doesn't pretend, yeah?
He doesn't pretend. He doesn't take that. So it wasn't smoke and mirrors. It's just how he was. It wasn't jet setting. It's like, oh, Henry, can we do this? It's like, no, I haven't got money for that. So he was very strict and straight.
He was real.
And real.
He wasn't pretending.
Exactly.
Because so many guys would go and borrow.
Pretend and borrow money and do Instagram. But Henry was just how you see him, nothing extra. It's just him. So I thought, okay, there's something special about this young man. Even though I was thinking, should I consider it or not? But because of that, I got more drawn to him and more attracted to him, because he was in a position to tell me off in a way that my dad would do. So I thought, wow, this is the man for me, because I am that kind of person who needs to be put in place or checked. So that got me more attracted. So when he popped the question after a couple of dates, I said, yes, please. I'm more than willing.
Okay.
Yes,
Interesting.
I was more than happy to accept it. And then, of course, that's when it escalated to pastor and, of course, the parents formally.
Excellent. Can we give it up to them, guys? I mean, if there's anything I'm picking up, everyone is just so different. Everybody's story is so different. To Samuela, it's honesty. It's the fact that, and I think you probably would come to a place where you've seen so many people pretending. So when you see someone who is real, you're like, oh, wow. So to you, it was more about honesty. Abigail, to you, it was more about his wisdom. It was, the peace he brought, the wisdom he brought, his ability. Even though he was not the type of person you wanted, he came out as someone who was wise, you could learn from. You could see that this guy would give me the peace that I need and blah, 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 and things like that. And for you, if there is anything, and again, it's with that voice that you had, even though that really didn't mean so much, even after the voice, you still were going on your way until you got to know. And for you, if I understand Miracle, it's more about the kind of things God told you. And, apart from that, the kind of signs and the things he brought about to show that he truly cares and stuff. So it looks as if for all of us, it's different things for different people. And that's how unique every relationship is. And that's why I always say that, you cannot always compare yours to someone else, because what takes for somebody doesn't necessarily take for you. One interesting question, we are still going to proceed from here. Last week we had a conversation with some singles, and then we were talking about women wanting men that can lead them. If I listen to what Samuela said, she wanted a guy to tell her, sit down, get up, do this. Not to necessarily, enslave her, but maybe she knew that she was tough and she needed someone who was much more tougher. And this guy's a tough guy. I know him. I go with him everywhere and we'll be fighting. We'll be fighting from B&Q to wherever, because he's literally that honest guy. He doesn't like, nonsense. He doesn't want to be cheated. He's just genuine. He doesn't want people taking advantage of people. I know him very well. One of the things that came up last week in our conversation is that many men are intimidated by women that are more spiritual than them. Men would prefer women they are at a higher level than. And most of the time, women would actually prefer a man who is above them, because women expect their guys to be able to lead them in the future. Now, from your perspective, it's obvious you're a pastor's kid. You've always been raised in the church. You've definitely been that spiritual girl. He met you a spiritual woman. He said even when you were singing, he got slain in the spirit. And you got to the place where even he was saying he wasn't at that place and you had to wait for him to get there and things like that. How was it for you, raised up in I don't know the relationship with your father, but I know most of the time every girl's father is a hero. Seeing your father raised up in the church and all of that. Seeing that the guy who proposed to you was going to be your potential husband was not there spiritually, and probably maybe you were looking to marry some anointed Holy Spirit filled pastor or something. What was it for you? Does it really matter if you are more spiritual than the guy that you are going to marry? Does it really matter to women putting yourself in that situation? Is the question clear at all?
It's clear, but it's tough.
Okay.
I would say this. When I told my mum initially about Ben, because I had spoken to her about the journey of our relationship, my mum said to me something that I was shocked because I wasn't expecting her to even accept him. My mum said that, you have to give everybody the opportunity to get to the same level of grace as you. Okay. And you cannot judge, you don't know what he will turn out to be tomorrow. And so you cannot judge him because of his past, but through you, he can see God in you, and that can transform him. And I remember when I went to have a conversation with my dad, my dad is an open book, and he will tell you that it was my mum that led him to Christ. And within 3 months of meeting my mum, he was led to Christ. He became a pastor after 3 months, and even at a higher ranking than what my mum was. And so my dad said to me, he said, when I was Ben's age, I was addicted to drugs. I was an alcoholic. I was a womanizer. But I remember the first time I saw your mum, the best thing she did for me was she took me to church. And so, he said to me, based on my history, I don't want you to judge this young man.
Can we give it up to the dad? Let's give it up to the dad, man. Yo, Ben, you need to pay more money. You need to pay more money to the dad. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he said, don't judge him. I can't tell you not to marry him, but what I will tell you is that encourage him. If you can lead him to Christ, leave the rest for God. You just lead him to the water, And again, for every woman, naturally, I do believe that we want someone who is more authoritative than us. But I believe that your character is what will be able to mold the man into who he's supposed to be. You cannot forcefully, because, for me, I've learned that I can't change you. Only the Holy Spirit can. So what's my place is to go to God and say, God, this is who you brought to me, And I always used to say to God, I said, I don't want somebody with a title, but I want somebody that I can see loves God with all his heart, because then he will love me, the way God wants me to be loved.
That is a wise woman. That's a wise woman. Great.
So that was my prayer. And if you know Ben, even now sometimes I'm telling him, please, it's okay, you love God too much. But you can see the passion, and it was like he just needed someone to point him in the right direction. So, but sometimes it's not like that for everybody, and we have to be honest. There's sometimes where, for a long time, and I believe that in a lot of our churches, I feel like the women are the ones who are now carrying the baton because that vacancy has been left. But I also believe in prayer. I also believe that there's nothing God cannot do. And if we believe God for our men, no matter how long it takes, I believe that God will definitely touch his heart.
Excellent. Thank you. Can we give it up to her? Great. Ben, I'm coming to you. And when I finish, I'm going to come to Henry, and I'm going to come to Abigail and Samuela. When you were getting to know God, or technically, it wasn't like you didn't know God. You even met her at church. You had the audacity to go before her to say, can I manage you? So it's not like you met her at the club or something. So it's obvious that you had an idea of who God was and stuff. It's just that you were just that regular guy in church. You were just a church guy. Was there any point that you felt intimidated to say, listen, that girl is spiritual than me. She knows how to pray than me. She's at a higher or advanced, walk with God than me. Knowing that she's coming, when you got to know that she was coming from a pastor's home. She has parents. I mean, you got to know her father is one of Benson the hostess, pastors, and has worked. Was there any point that you felt like, yo, nah, she's too spiritual for me, I can't deal with this? Or it really didn't matter?
I think at the beginning, no, because I've always had this character where I just treat everybody the same, So I liked her, and it was one of those things where I had to grow to love her in God. And one thing that I loved about her was that even though, yes, she was very spiritual, she was blasting in tongues, sometimes just like, just sing the song, but when it came to us going out, she was normal. I realized that she likes going out, fine dining. No, and
she was actually eating.
It was actually
was she actually eating?
Yeah,
the
proper,
fries and stuff like that.
all that stuff,
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Apostle, I'm telling you. And one of the tests that I wouldn't call it a test, but one of the things because I work for like high-end restaurants, and I never take any girls to those places at all. Most times I just want to take them to like Nando's, all that stuff, because when they go, they're like, oh, this is your lifestyle kind of thing. So I remember I took her to, where did we go first? I think was it Arts Club. So I took her to this, I don't take anyone to this particular place. So I was a member of this place, right, and I took her there. And the way that she just did herself, ate nicely, the waiters came, wow, is this your lady? I'll be like, yeah, she, there wasn't this, I'm better than you kind of thing, and she allowed me to express myself and allowed me, or made me feel like, you know what, I'm not better than you, we're the same.
Or she was giving you that room to lead.
Yeah, she will allow me to do so. Whether it was a trick or not, it worked. And slowly I was actually learning from her. And then there were also things that she was also learning from me. Now, when coming into marriage, she comes from, a very dominant, like the women in the family are quite dominant, So I had to learn how to adjust to Miracle. I had to learn how to, okay, then how can we make this work? I'm not saying that it's perfect, but, Miracle's very like, let's do this, bang, bang, bang. And we was talking about, it's funny, we was talking about this last night. She was like, Ben, you have no structure. You just allowed the Holy Spirit to do whatever he wants to do. Like, you need to plan your day. And I'm like, that's not me. But you have to get to the point where you have to compromise with each other, And you know what? At the beginning, you would never really understand until you get married. Then you have to realize that, okay, then maybe I need to add structure to my day, to make it easier for her so that she can also get to the point where she's able to be like, okay, this is me and Ben is the head, or, you have to find a balance.
We would come to those places with the expectations and balance and compromises and stuff like that. But, I mean, so never did you feel intimidated by her spirituality?
Never, no.
So it wasn't like she was rubbing this in your face?
No.
All right, then. That's fine. Emmanuel, coming up as a single young man, coming from Ghana, you're coming to school, you're coming to study. Obviously, yes, at a certain age, every guy wants to settle down, but it's obvious if the first day you came is the first day you probably met her in the house and all of that, the last thing you are thinking about at that point in time is a woman. What were you looking for in a woman? What was it that, the question is tight, isn't it? What was it that you were looking for? So there was definitely something I was looking for in a woman, and patience was that. It was obvious, patience was that. I mean, the first day I saw I knew that, Charlie, that's my wife. There were things that I was looking for, and she was that person. What was it that you were looking for that you saw Abigail, and then you were like, of course, yes, she was beautiful, yes, I mean, and all of these kind of things. But are there things that certain men are looking at? If yes, what were you looking for as a single young man in a woman?
Oh, very good question. Personally, I think that, believe it or not, but I knew exactly what I was looking for. And I'd said that to myself, even when I was at GSS. So those of you who don't know GSS, it's just junior high school in Ghana. So when I was in junior high school in Ghana, I knew what I wanted to become. I knew the woman I wanted to marry. And so, first of all, it would surprise you, but I was praying one day and I said to God that I don't want a woman who is overly spiritual. You will not believe it.
Okay.
Now, the reason is, I grew from the Church of Pentecost, and most of the women I came across were very spiritual, like seriously spiritual.
Give it up to Pentel. Let's give it up to Pentel, man. Let's give it up.
And it's like...
Why? Is it wrong for someone to be
No,
overly
I mean,
spiritual?
the thing is...
Because I'm teaching my girls to be overly spiritual.
No, I mean, you know, the spiritual aspect is necessary, but where the lady will not dress up because of spirituality, would not want to do certain things because of spirituality, you know, some of those things, I grew up with them. There are beautiful ladies where I was coming from who were struggling to get married because they were so much into religion. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. And for me...
So the word is not overly spiritual. The word is you didn't want someone who was religious.
Maybe that is the right word.
Exactly. Because we are training people to be overly spiritual.
Yeah?
Okay? We are telling them not just to be filled, but they should be full onto their overflowing.
Exactly.
Yeah?
So that is the right
They
word.
were religious people.
They were extremely religious.
Okay.
And I didn't want that. I wanted someone who was raw. God, you know, someone who was raw.
Real. Someone who was real.
Like the person loves God, but at the same time can make you happy. And when it comes to let's go here, the person will be happy to go with you. And so I was looking for that. I also told God that, God, I want a woman who will love me just as I am. Yeah? And so, because I knew myself, and I don't remember when I took Christ, because I was born in church. And so, my whole life has been...
Thank God we didn't ask you this question.
Exactly, because I wouldn't. Exactly. So I was born in church. I grew up from the Sunday school. Work in the ranks. And so I knew that I just needed someone who understands me, someone who understands where I'm coming from. And obviously, it wasn't as if we were, on quote, rich. And so I also wanted someone who would take me just as I am and would go with me, understand my vision. Because personally, when I came, all I had was my vision. That's all. And so I even said to Abby that one time that...
Can you give it up to this guy? That's amazing. So all you had was your vision. You had nothing else. You had no money. You had nothing.
Man of God, I said to her one time, if you remember that, you took one of the greatest risks of your life. Because if my vision had gone down, because that is all I had to give her anyway at the time I came. And obviously she saw the God in me and the peace she wanted.
And she saw the vision.
She saw the vision. And so for me, it was the vision. And anytime I talked to her, it was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to uni, I'm going to get my PhD, I'm planning on doing this, I'm planning on...
You were selling the vision.
I cannot stop talking about it because that was my vision. That is what I was bringing across. There were guys who were more,
Now, break it down for me. This is interesting. I want people to listen to this. This is interesting. So you've come from Ghana. It's obvious you are even illegal, I guess.
Well, I had my papers because I was a student.
Okay. So you have a student's visa.
Exactly, yeah.
That's all you have. You are even come to stay in your sister's house.
Exactly.
You've met this girl who's been in Europe, moved from Belgium, has come, technically she's doing well. And you say that all you have is your vision. And you sold this vision to her. What did you tell her you were going to become? Is it something where I want you to explain what you meant by all you told her was your vision? Because there are certain guys that may not have anything, but they probably have vision, but they are probably not in the capacity to sell this. I've come to the place where I've realized that if a woman really loves you, it's not really about your money, but most time it's where you are going as a person. How did you sell this vision to her?
I think for me, it wasn't on purpose. But when you are pregnant with something, it becomes obvious.
Okay.
Because anytime you talk, you would speak it. And so it wasn't like, sit down, let's talk, this is what I want to do. But like I was saying, I was coming from a very tough family. My mom was all right, but she wasn't very in terms of, finance. My dad isn't rich. My dad was poor. And so we've lived in a very, deprived areas in Ghana and all that. And I worked very hard to pay for my tuition fee. As of the time, I was saving every penny. I came to the country with just one shirt and a trouser, as Abby. And that was what I was putting on in church. If we are going out, even if I'm going out with her, that's the same dress. And I still have that picture. And so when I was in Ghana, I was working so hard, saving money. I saved till I paid my own fees. I paid up to 6,000 pounds in Ghana to come and study. I didn't come on a scholarship. And so I told her, listen, I'm in school. I'm coming to study. When I finish, I'm planning on doing my PhD. And, when I finish this, and this is what I want to do, I want to establish this. I'm in ministry. I'm praying that God will put us here. You know what I mean? So it kept coming. The vision just kept coming. And I didn't even know that it was actually making a lot of sense to her. Because at the time, we were just friends. I knew I liked her, but I was at the same time scared to let her know that, I was interested in her or sort of thing. You know what I mean? And so I was just telling her about the stuff, my future, future plans, the stuff that I want to do in ministry, the stuff I want to do. I wanted to, and even when we're coming, funny enough, I was telling her that I'm jumping on my PhD next year. And so
let's give it up.
You know what I mean? And so that is all I carried. And apparently she also loved those things. She wanted a man who was ambitious, a man who looks into the future and wanted to establish something for the home. Because I saw that where I was coming from, I should be able to change the way we grew up.
Okay. So that's a great one. So what is it that, what was it that you saw about her? I mean, you've told me your vision and things like that. She obviously, I know Abigail. I know she's very she's pushy, she's intellectual, she's that kind of person that's a go-getter and things like that. But apart from seeing that beautiful woman, what was it about you? I mean, what was it about her that you felt like this one definitely could take me to where I want to go? Because it's obvious that a man who has vision will not settle with anything, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like I said, number one, personally, I wanted a lady who understands me and will buy into my vision and will understand my vision. And anytime I talk to her about what I wanted to do, she pays attention, she listens, and she likes to contribute. And so that was one take for me. Now, number two take is obviously beauty is very important to me, and I'd always wanted to marry a lady who is very beautiful. And I saw her and she was beautiful. So that is like,
let's give it up to
beautiful. That was like first on the list. It ticked, and so that was good. And then also there was one thing about her, because obviously I loved God. Like singing, sometimes there was a small organ in the house, and I'll play the keys and we worship, because I was the worship leader. And so I'll play the keys and we would just worship. And she would just worship. I remember we still have our first song we ministered together in the church. And so I saw that all I needed, it's funny, man of God, because I just needed a woman, number one, who is God-fearing, like I said, who understands my vision and will go with me. Because I believe that I carry the vision, because the man is the head of the home. Then God can give you a companion, someone who would support your vision and help it to birth out. And so I saw all this in her, because I knew that she was very ambitious, she was studying, she was talking about her own plans, and that she was also pushing me and asking, have you done that? Have you done that? What did you do this morning? And all those bits and pieces. And so it was taking all the marks, and I knew it was just her.
Great. Final question, just to the glory of God.
Yeah.
You came, had nothing. All you had was one shirt, one trousers, and your vision. Just to the glory of God, where are the two of you now? I mean, where would you say the two of you are now? Are you still having one shirt, one trousers? Are you still holding on to the vision? You are telling me when you guys were coming, you were even telling her you are planning on doing a PhD and all of that. Just for that woman that probably has seen a man because he does not drive a car or does not have, sit at the office. And I know you are my brother. At a point in time, you were cleaning and things like that. And there's this thing about this millennial women that are saying, of course, he has to have a job. He must come, with something on the table and blah, blah, blah. to come literally from nothing, having nothing, a shirt, a trousers, and a vision, to sitting here, where would you say God has brought you? And if you don't mention them, I'm going to mention them. So, I want, just look into that camera. Where are you guys now? Of course, you are nowhere close to where you want to go, but what is Emmanuel and Abigail doing now? Where are you?
Honestly, I would just say this to the glory of God, because personally, I just didn't want to, we are not the type of people who kind of, put
again, as I said, it's to the glory of God.
To the glory of God.
Let's go.
We have moved from, at the time we got married, my mom giving us, one, and this is very emotional, because when we got married and we came to Germany, and at the time we didn't have a home. So we had to book in a guest house. Even when we were married, we didn't have a place to live. It would surprise you. So, because we were still living in my mom's house, and we wanted to move in together, and so we wanted to marry. And so we got my sister's house. So we wanted to marry, and we had not even planned. That is, I still don't get it, what we did. For us, it was a miracle. And so we just said,
it was a miracle.
It was a miracle. We were like, and I wouldn't advise anyone to do that, of course, but we just wanted to get married. We got married, got to Germany. We didn't have a place to live. We had to book in a guest house. My mom gave us one microwave, one rice cooker, one plate, two spoons, 2 cups. We moved to a guest house. I went to work, and then we rented a place. To the glory of God, we own houses. Not house. Houses.
Come on. Let's give it to God.
Yeah.
That is inspiration.
To the glory of God. To the glory of God.
Wow.
And there are a lot more that we are doing.
You are into properties.
I am into properties. I am mentoring people. By the grace of God, at some point, I was, I knew the call of God was on my life, okay? And it has always been, there's always been one confirmation or the other. And so I was asking God that, when do you want me? When is the appropriate time for me to go into ministry? And by the grace of God, right now, we are into ministry as well, pushing the side of the ministry. Our business is doing quite well. Our children are growing very well. We have everything. I said to myself, I'm not even 40 yet. But there are things that I have done. I only envisage I was probably going to get them when I was like 40 or 45. But we have all of them here. So I was telling my wife that there is just one thing, just that one thing. If we are able to achieve that, what else do we actually need? I was asking her, like, after that, then what? And so like, okay, then we give to the poor and give to the widows and the orphans. You know what I mean? And so it's just the blessings of God. And it's just the blessings of God. And
Wow.
That is all I can say. And so maybe it's a good time for me to speak to the audience as well who is watching. There are ladies who see young people, especially young men, and they just want them to be a full package. God can disguise the full package in a raw material. And it's for you to be able to help them, And so I'm giving the credit to my wife, because everything that I did, trust me or not, if she hadn't had said, yes, honey, it's all right. There are properties that I bought that, in all fairness, she has to bring her money. Personally, we don't have your money, my money. All right? We don't have that. So I know her bank account. I can enter in and come out. She can enter mine and come out. And we have everything is joined together. And so our money is our money. And so she gets money, even some of the stuff from her own, student stuff. And it's just by the grace of God that we have gotten there. She's been just so supportive.
Wow.
And so I just thank God for her life.
Wow. I mean, this is incredible. This is incredible. It's obvious that we have to continue this at a point. I met patients with nothing. Abigail, it's so funny, but 3 days ago I was there. You remember that brown shoe of mine? 3 days ago I was there. I was thinking, I met patients with nothing. We literally did our wedding with patients' student finance. We literally did our wedding with Patience's student finance and everything. I remember coming from Germany, I had to come and live with Patience and the mother and the sister in one house. We gave birth to my son Joel in Patience's mother's small single room like that, and things like that. And if you see where we are coming from and where God has taken us, it definitely takes. I mean, women can see. I think that women can see. I think it was very important for us to say this, because there are many people that are looking for that guy who's already a real estate, owner and things like that. And to know that you are coming from a place of literally nothing. But again, there's something that I love. You said all you had was a shirt, a trousers, and a vision. And that vision thing, to me, is very important. Now, I want to go to Samuel and Henry. I know you guys are doing extremely well. I'm not here. I'm not going to be talking about the kind of things that you are doing and things like that. Amazing. You've done well. You have your own house and things like that. I know Samuela and all that, she can do and things like that. Henry, what were you looking for in a woman? Because it definitely, again, as I said, every man has what they look out for. You don't just get up and marry somebody by coincidence. Even when God is saying, this is your wife, there are certain elements you are looking out for. What was it for you that you are looking out for in a woman, that when you saw Samuela, getting to know her, being friends with her, you realized that, oh, that is that thing that I'm looking for, and she's that kind. What were you looking for?
Wow, excellent. She was somebody, or she is somebody who has good attributes when it comes to hard work and managing things. And I come from a household whereas, my mom and my dad, they were good at managing us and controlling the household. So I was looking for someone who can manage my household, my children. And at a tender age, when we were
Samuela is one of the best managers I've met. Absolutely.
Samuela was managing and doing so well at the time with her family, looking after her younger siblings. All these attributes at the time were just
her father's business.
Her own siblings were very young. She was controlling them very well. So it was just working for me. I could tell that this is the sort of woman that I need, because we are going to live together, have a family, and I need somebody who can bring up my kids well, look after my kids, manage my home whilst I'm out there, looking for the money. So these are the sort of things that I needed, and thankful to God, I found it in her. Yeah, and I think that is what is needed. It's not just about the beauty, but you've got to have a character. You've got to have the attributes that would help you manage the household. And this,
there are some women, if you enter their bedrooms and stuff like that, they eat, they are just messed up. And when you enter such a place, you know that, listen, this person doesn't have the capacity. So you were looking for a manager.
That's correct.
To some extent.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so these are the things you look at. Of course, you look at the outside appearance and everything, but character is very important, because after everything else has, you've done everything that you've always planned in your head to do, you're left with the personality of the person as well as the character. So if the character is not something that you appreciate, your relationship or your marriage will not last long. There will be confusion, there will be a lot of, problems. But these are the areas that I was focusing at. I was focusing at somebody who can, help manage things, control things, be in charge, whilst you're not around. And Samuela, my wife, is very good at that, and she does a very good job for us. Yeah.
Excellent. I hope the single guys and single women are taking a lot of cue, definitely from the kind of conversations that we are having. Definitely, we want to now move from that place where we now want to start from the beginning. So we've seen them, we've had our confirmations, we've found the kind of things we are looking out for, and things like that. Ben, when you were certain that she is going to be your wife and things like that, what step did you take? Does the question make sense? When you find out that she, I think you already answered. You said you went straight to her parents. Is that the case? So when you find out, okay, fine, yes, the two of you have started, let me say you are dating, you are going out and all of that and things like that. Did you go to her parents before you popped the question to her? How did you go about it? Or did you ask it and she said yes and you went to the parents? How did it work out for you?
I went straight to her parents because she came from she came from a household that was just very respectful, and they took me in as a son. So I just thought it was right because, me and her mom have a very, very good relationship. And it was just one of those things where because I came from a background where I didn't have much family, I was always trying to attach myself to somewhere. The way her mom took me in, she just became like my best friend. And it was one of those things where even if we hadn't got married, me and her mom would still be close. So it was right, but also organic to be able to sit down with her parents and say, look, this is where I want to take the relationship. And, rightly like what my brothers have been saying, we didn't have much. I didn't have much to present to them, if anything. I think even for her wedding ring, I went to go and even borrow. And I said to this person, I'll pay you back.
Wow.
But this is what I believe in, and this is where I know that God is going to take us. And her parents just advised me and said, Ben, like, if this is what you want, who are we to stop you from doing that? Because anyways, you're dating a girl. So, and they encouraged me. I remember that we ate, we laughed. I even presented the ring to them. I said, look, this is the ring that I want to present to her. They prayed over it, and then they prayed over me as well. And at that point, that's when I was like...
At this point, you had not popped the question to her.
She didn't know anything.
You had not even told her you want to marry her or anything.
So
you went straight to the parents.
I went straight to the parents. Okay. And because for me...
What would make you go to the parents when you've not said... So what if you are putting her in a very difficult situation. Because if her parents say yes, and to her it's a no, or you knew at that point, listen, it's a yes.
No, for me, I'd rather get the yes from the parents and get a no from her, knowing that I've done the right thing. Because she can always know at the back of her mind that this guy went through the right channels, rather than, because a lot of young people, we tend to just rush into things and then we realize that actually the parents don't even agree to X, Y, and Z. So I wanted to make sure that I was on the same page as the parents. What are your expectations? What do I need to do? How can I make this marriage work? Even if she says no, I just want to know that as my forefathers, as my mother, what would you want your son to do? If this was your child, what would you expect? And that's what allowed me to be comfortable, to know that, okay, that I could present now myself to Miracle and ask her to marry. So even on the day that I proposed to her, everyone else knew. She didn't. She thought it was a photo shoot that we're going to do for her birthday. So it was a complete shock to her that this guy's proposed.
What if she said no?
She said no, at least I've done the right thing. And I'll come back again.
All right. Miracle, guys, can you please keep your mics on? Don't turn it off, just because of live TV. How would you feel? I know certain women, they'll be like, yo, listen, you should have at least spoken to me before you went to my parents. Why? Are you trying to kind of fix me in a place where I can't say no, why you've gone to my parents and so what? Or that for you was like a massive sign like, oh, yo, this guy actually means business. If he wasn't serious about this, he wouldn't have gone to my parents. But anyway, let me just sign a sign of caution. There are many people, when they introduce you to their parents, it means nothing. I know guys that have introduced more than 10 women to their parents. I know. So just because someone has gone to your parents does not mean that the box is ticked. Let us just, establish that. There are people that are even party parents of women and taking money from them and they've left. So it's a good sign. It's great. From Ben's point of view, he was just doing what is right. But some of these guys are too skilled. They know exactly what to do and what not to do. Yeah? So how was it for you? What did it mean? Did it mean much to you, the fact that he bypassed you and went to your parents, or you would have preferred he spoke to you first?
For me, I remember one of the first conversations that I had with Ben, was about my family and what they mean to me, because we're a very close-knit family, and I wanted somebody who would come into my home and also honor my parents the way I honor them, and likewise, I honor their parents in that same way. So for me, I thought it was honorable of him to have that respect enough for my parents first as my covering, because they're my first covering, before my pastors or before anyone else, out of respect. And again, because I'm Nigerian, so there was no way, he would have proposed to me without, first letting my parents know. But, we're a very, very close-knit family, so I saw it as a thing of honor that he would respect them enough to first go and ask them and say, can I marry your daughter, and then get their blessing. So yeah, that for me, I saw it as an honorable thing, because I just wanted to be with someone who would honor my parents the way I honor them.
Wow.
And he did that.
Wow, let's give it up. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Wonderful, wonderful. Henry, so when you guys were dating now, it's obvious that that, okay, this is Samuela, I really, really want to marry this young woman and stuff. What next? What did you do from there?
Samuela took me to make sure that I was the right person. She took me to her parents. And Samuela has a strong bond with her dad. So she said, if you want to, have a relationship with me, you go and meet my dad and my mom, So I went to meet them, and we sat down, and we spoke, and they also told me how they loved their daughter and how they wanted her to be in the hands of a good man. And, and if you're a true Christian, if we have true Christians, you have to be a good person or a good Christian. So they were entrusting me to be a good man, because it just came to the house. So the parents saw what someone also saw in me, that I was an honest person and trustworthy person. So from there, they began to like me, and then I took it more seriously with regards to the day I wanted to propose to her and then take it to the next level. So
at what point did you go and see her pastor?
After I had met her parents, after I had met her parents and spoken to the parents and, kind of establish a relationship with the parents, then we wanted to take it to the next level, the next covering, which is the pastor. And then we went to see Pastor George, and then that's the day I went with you, brother. That's the day I went with you, and we, officially met Pastor George, and, told Pastor George the plans that I had for his daughter. And, Pastor George was also pleased to see me. He had heard about me, because, of course, Samuela had a good relationship with her pastor, and I had told her pastor that she's found a young man who wants to marry her, so the man would come and meet him. And eventually I showed up one of these days, and I met the man. And the man also showed me a lot of respect, and I respect him for that. He accepted me as a son, and up until now we're still in good communication with Pastor George. So it's just amazing. But the steps is what I'm just narrated, the step that I took.
Sammy, why did you want him to come? Why was it important for him to come and see your parents? I mean, there are many ladies that still wouldn't even show their guys to their parents and things like that. Why was it important for you that he comes to see your parents? I mean, if you found what you want and you like, but why was it important for you that he comes up to see your parents?
First of all, it's because of the respect I have for my dad in particular, because I'm very close with him and my mom, of course. And I believe in our culture as Ghanaians, it's something you need to do to show respect to your parents, because you can't be seeing, well, if it's serious or if you're going to get married, that is the right thing to do, because your parents need to know where you are, who you've gone out with, at least, obviously. So I thought it was very, very, very vital at the time, or very important for my dad to know who I was speaking to. Or obviously, if I tell him, Dad, I'm going out to see person A or person B, he knows exactly where I am and who exactly I'm going with. So it was, to me, it was quite important for my parents to know exactly who this young man was, and obviously to show them respect, because obviously they've brought me up all these years not for a man to whisk me away and not know who he is at the time. So it was important to me personally to take him to my parents, and obviously for the sake of respect as well for our culture. So it was quite important.
Great. Can we give hands to Samuela? I mean, honestly, I've not even asked you the first question I want to ask you guys, because we want to deal with expectations and reality. This is just breaking of the ice, and unfortunately, we just have 9 minutes left. So I'm going to bring you guys back next week. Hands on. Ima, you've seen her. You've sold your vision to her. You sold your shirt and your trousers to her. And all of that. By the way, Ima is a very good marketer. He knows how to sell. So he definitely sold the vision well. Okay, yes, you've come to the place. She said yes. You said you didn't even ask her for dating. You just asked her, boom, do you want to marry me? And she said, yes. What happened from there? From the yes, what did you guys do?
All right.
Sorry, what did you say?
Abby will answer
yes, go
that.
ahead, go ahead.
I think from there, I spoke to my mum, and it was quite difficult because obviously I spoke to my mum first, and then I told her obviously I'd seen someone, but obviously it's not, an already made man, and my mom was like, of course, I mean, that doesn't matter. My mom would say this proverb where she's men probably on her, but like something like that. She's into like helping somebody to get to that place, self-advancement, and building things together, because then it becomes
something for
it becomes meaningful. Yes, exactly. It becomes meaningful. So she was absolutely for it. It was my dad that was a bit difficult to kind of talk about with. But I think initially, the one when you had to
I mean, it might be quite. But why was it difficult with your dad? I mean, if you can just give us, not all there, but I mean
you're coming from Belgium. You know how our fathers are sometimes. There are certain traditions they expect men to be able to do. And then obviously every dad wants to have her daughter in the right hand. And obviously somebody that is coming from Ghana just a couple of months ago and not necessarily there yet.
They actually even think he's going he wants you to establish himself.
So it wasn't coming from a bad place from him. It was just to make sure that my future is secured.
I get it.
So it was quite difficult to talk about it with him. And I remember some funny thing where you had to travel to Belgium to do the knocking. And then I think something with the visa, because he had a student visa, but then something with the visa happened and he wasn't able to, so the mom had to travel from Germany, then meet my dad in Belgium. And my dad just went ballistic with, why is he not here, and blah, blah, blah. Then there's something going on and on and on. So I didn't really tell my dad his status.
When these things were happening, was there a point in time you were really questioning your decision to say, I mean, man, am I really, really doing the right thing?
I was questioning my decision the whole time. Are we sure this is the right way to go? I was questioning myself the whole time. Is this the right time? Should we maybe probably wait for a while? And there were so many other things that were happening before anyways that made things a bit pressured, and we learned a lot from it, let me put it that way. And my dad, I didn't tell him about the whole status bit until he had his own suspicions, but I didn't really kind of go into that until we had married. He gave him all the tough time. He was able to raise the bride price He had to work hard.
I know Belgium,
was-
they charge.
Yes, they charge.
It's a
so
massive
much.
thing. Next week, I would actually let us deal with the aspect of culture. It's something, I would really, really let us go in, especially for you, a Ghanaian and Nigerian, marrying cross-culture and things like that. I'll let us go to that aspect of culture, but please continue.
Yeah, so I think after that, I think when he had come back, when he had gotten married and then moved into a room and all that together, then I told him about it, and then he's like, oh, I knew, but because you hadn't told me yourself, I didn't ask you. And he just hoped, that he would hope something, but obviously he doesn't know how it's going to turn out for you.
So if I understand, to some extent, it was quite an easy ride for Ben and Henry. Obviously, they've been in Europe, things like that, and all of that. So it's easy, taking them to your parents because they don't know that again. I mean, we're on camera, they are not like they. But yours is a very strange situation. He's just come from Ghana. Your father even lives in Belgium. So it's not like you can just take him to Croydon. And was there not a point in time where you were probably feeling, man, maybe I'm taking a bit too much of a risk? What was that?
No, not really. I was very certain. That's one thing I knew. I was very certain about him. I was incredibly certain about him. It was just, it's normal that when you're going into such, you're taking such a huge step, you would always have that doubt behind, thinking, oh, is it the right thing? Because I was quite young as well. But in terms of him being the person, I had, aside from everything else, I loved him completely, and I knew that he was the one I meant to be with. So that was no doubt at all. So, we came, and then obviously I told my dad about everything, and then he just wished us well, but obviously he doesn't know how it's going to turn out. But today, I know, although my dad does not talk about it very much, dads, my dad is not the type of person that would tell you, oh,
I know I got it wrong, yeah.
But he is incredibly proud of him, and he's incredibly proud of me, and he goes out there and tells people all the time, and they tell me about it, not him. So yeah, that's
a typical Ghanaian African man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it all worked out well, and we just have to give glory to God, really.
Just to add a bit to what Abi have just said, I mean, I think that the part for both Ben and Henry was a bit different from ours, because obviously I didn't have a relationship with Abi's parents. I think the mom was okay because I could talk to the mom in the 6 months we were dating, but not the dad. The dad was very straight.
He wouldn't even talk to you.
He won't talk. The man doesn't even. It's like. So he was straight. We were able to break, that shell some few years in the marriage. Because as a matter of fact, I won't lie. Sometimes when he calls me, I panic. I'm like, what am I going to tell this man? I don't even have the words to talk. You know what I mean? Exactly. But with my parents, we were very close. Myself and my parents, so I could tell my dad anything. As a matter of fact, the day Abi even said yes, my dad knew. You know what I mean? That is how close I am with my dad. My mom knew. And I was with my uncle. My uncle is my guardian angel. Everything from day one to the time it finished, it was my uncle. And so my uncle knew everything. My uncle was talking to Abi. And I think the only problem was with Abi's side. But what is meant to happen would happen.
Next week we are going to go there. We are going to look at resistance and opposition and how we navigate it. Do we go disrespectfully? How do we go about it? Because I know there are certain people that are in a place where it's meant to be, but there is a lot of resistance. And we are going to navigate that with the wisdom. Can we give our hands together to these guys? Amazing. So it's 9:30. Definitely we are ending it here. Next week, by the grace of God, we definitely would kick off from somewhere. The guys are talking a lot. Let me give the ladies the honors of giving the last word. Miracle, speak. If there's one thing you can tell, if there's one thing you can tell your sisters who are single, what would you tell them? Just one thing.
I think I'll say, the word that has resonated, especially with me today, has just been vision, and rightly so. Don't just marry a guy because of what you can get. And we're also not saying that, just pick any random guy who just comes to you with nothing, but ensure that you're looking for someone who knows where he's going, and not just that, knows where he's going in Christ, because then that you're going to have security because, he's got a vision. So that would be my advice to you. Please don't just go for anybody, and don't think that we're telling you to date any ragamuffin that comes to you. But ensure that, the vision is written down and is made plain so that you can also see where you're going as well.
Excellent. Can we give it up? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Abigail, if you had anything to tell your sisters, what would one thing that you tell them?
I think what I would say is that be intuitive and listen within. I think that most of the time, we women, we listen to our intuition a lot, but sometimes we try to ignore what we already know. And I think that with women, there are some certain relationships you go into and this is not going to end well for me. But you go in anyways because you have certain emotions and feelings and all that, hoping that it would work. But deep down, you know what's right. So we need to listen to our core being and listen to what our instincts, it's telling us it would really, really go a long way for us.
Excellent. Can we give it up? Don't ignore what your intuitions are telling you most of the time. That's where the Holy Spirit speaks from. Some of us are expecting to hear a voice, but sometimes it's what he's speaking to your heart. And it's very important. Obviously, looking at everything that is going on with her father and stuff, if there's so much noise outside, if you're not really listening from within, you can run away from something which is really from God. So that's great. Sammy, if there's one thing that you would tell your sisters, what would it be?
As Abigail said, go with your heart and listen to what your heart says. This is a full-time job. It's no joke. Know that you definitely want it. Do not listen to, obviously, outside advice. It's just you going into it. Be your own judge of your own relationship, because at the end of the day, you're going to live with it forever, hopefully. So please, ladies, this is not a joke. It's not a bandwagon. It's not about the wedding. It's not about the glitz and glam. Know what you want, because it's a forever journey. After your wedding, you're going to pay your bills. Think about that thoroughly and make the right decisions. It's all about you.
Great. So next week, God willing, we will look at the wedding. They've seen what they like. They've definitely, gone to the next step of seeing parents and seeing pastors and stuff. Obviously, the next thing is going to be wedding. So next week, we're going to look at wedding. Do they regret the weddings they had? What was their weddings like? If they had the option to do something different, would they do anything differently? We'll look at weddings, and then after weddings, we will now look at the reality of marriage. God bless you. God willing, next week, Wednesday, same time, 7:30, we'll be here with Kingdom School Interactive. In the meantime, on Sunday, if you are in London and you're looking for a place to fellowship and you don't have a church, Kingdom Ambassador Center is the place to be. I mean, it's amazing. We are family. Just come and taste. And you see the Lord is good. God bless you. Shalom. God bless you. God bless you guys. God bless you guys. God bless you
guys. I do take you to be my wife, for rich or poor. I love you more through the good times and the bad, till death do us part. I do, baby, oh, la 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 la. I do take you to be my wife, for rich or poor. I love you more through the good times and the bad, till death do us part. I do, baby, oh, cha la la la. Why can't us join together? Cha la la la. Let no man put us under. Cha la la la. Why can't us through the good times and the bad, till death do us part. I do, baby, oh, cha la la la.